So what we're going to do, we're just going to kind of talk through a couple of questions, get a conversation going, and we'll see where it goes. Would you mind introducing yourselves to the group?
Yeah, sure. First,
Okay.
ladies first.
I'm Charity Hagel, and I work for Lighthouse, and my role there is VP of Finance, and I've been there for almost 12 years.
Robert, would you mind introducing yourself, please?
I'm Robert McMillan. I'm from Atlanta, dealing with a little storm damage. But I've been in, I have a consultancy called Scott Crow, and we've been in state government for about 25 years.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Hi, I am Armando Gonzalez. I am coming from Mexico. I travel in all Latin America, and I am a Quantrix partner since about 7 years ago, and do consulting since about 17 on the supply chain side.
And I'm Laurence Painell. I'm responsible for marketing at IDBS, and I also work with the Quantrix team from the business planning perspective as well. So I think we'll just start off really, if you wouldn't mind giving us your experience. So what are the main business challenges that you guys are facing at the moment? Charity, do you want to kind of kick us off?
Well, you guys saw in our presentation earlier that our growth is really the biggest challenge that we have going for us right now, which is a great problem to have. But we have definitely found ourselves in some situations that we didn't anticipate. And really, Quantrix, like I mentioned earlier, is helping us tackle a lot of those challenges.
Great. Robert, from your perspective?
On the consulting side, I was talking to Angus yesterday. The holy grail, I think, is to be able to reproduce a consulting endeavor. So many times you go out and it's a one-out. You solve a problem and it's completely different the next time you do it. But what we see in government, within a state or across multiple states, is that they have the same problems. They're delivering the same services. The same model can largely solve those problems. So we're trying to replicate, standardize to the greatest extent possible, and then just spin that out and reproduce.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, we are doing the same. We have found that many companies on the distribution side, on the supply chain, they need to handle many products, SKUs, a different level of analysis or aggregation on distribution in a big territory. And today, global companies are trying to find best practices and expand easily to many places all over the world, not only in one country. And that's what we are doing. We are trying to replicate fast and easy handling data, because what we do really is handling data and making analysis and trying to understand the impact of a better decision, because we are all the time just analyzing and taking decisions. So,
Absolutely.
so that's what we are doing.
And I think I don't know how much you guys are aware of IDBS. They make scientific software, data management software essentially. And it's interesting kind of what we're saying here with respect to the fact that every company thinks they're unique, right? Everybody thinks what they do is special or what they do is different. But in reality, what we found, and we spent 25 years working with these organizations, is whilst they think they're unique and there's a little bit of secret sauce here and there, actually the vast majority of what they do isn't unique.
Right.
And so we go in, we do consulting projects, and invariably what we find is actually we do the same thing 30, 40 times over. And there's also that, how do you get people within your own organization to think about building things in a way that's reusable, reproducible, and that ultimately saves you cost whilst maximizing the margin that you make at the back end of that. So we kind of share a similar type of thing on the IDBS side of things.
Another thing I was going to mention that we're really struggling with as a manufacturer is the labor market right now.
Right.
So we are really, our process, you've all seen that Laverne and Shirley, or the I Love Lucy episode where they're shoving chocolates in their mouth and the conveyor belt is going down. So because we have such a manual process, historically manual process, what we're finding is that we're not able to get the labor market that we need. And we've used Quantrix a lot to model out, with our capacity projections and then turning that into some labor projections, and then working with the HR to try to anticipate what's coming, rather than just working the people you have 1,000,000 hours and then you lose them anyway because they miss every soccer game of their kids or whatever. So the labor market has definitely impacted us.
Interesting.
And then, so the shift towards, we need to be more automated, we need to invest in manufacturing that's got more technology, and then with more technology comes more data, and the big data, and what do you do with that? And then Quantrix is the answer for that too.
Yeah.
So,
And Robert, from your perspective?
I'll take a different slant on that. So our challenge is that there's a huge age gap
Yeah.
between new employees and retiring out employees. And the retiring out employees hold all the knowledge. And of course, they built everything in Excel. And we have another arm that builds enterprise software solutions. And what we find is that we have to go in and reverse engineer everything that existed and put it in a different format. So what we want to do is to go in and talk to the experts while they're still there, because we're looking at, you know, anywhere from 3 to 6 years when most
Before
of these
they
people are going to
retire.
retire out.
Yeah.
So we have a very short window of time to gather this knowledge, and we definitely don't want to recreate it in Excel, given the opportunities of Quantrix. So
Great.
it's exciting.
Thank you. Armando?
Well, we are challenging. Our challenge is that, well, this is not a political conversation, but have you heard about NAFTA? That's a North American Free Trade Agreement. Okay. One of the problems, or one of the things we face, is that somehow labor is cheap. So people who use Excel is cheap. So many companies invest, with the people trying to make analysis. And for us, we need to face two main things. One, our language in all Latin America and Spain is Spanish, so everything is in English, so we need to translate somehow the knowledge with not only the tool, but the way of thinking in terms of creating formal models. And the other thing is that we find a position of the Excel users because they live using Excel. But finally, going to the top management, definitely they see the value of really creating something that it's more formal, professional, and definitely efficient in terms of results. So it's there's a lot of opportunities in an organization everywhere. So the point is where to start really with a good model or a good initiative to improve something on the analysis. Yeah.
And in your experience, where do you find the best place to start? How do you engage the business, the users, the community to start that journey?
Okay, my field is business forecasting. We do a lot of multiple items forecasting for many global firms. And it's the best way, really, my point of view is that if you start with finance, because they really know about the cost of resources, everything that involves a penny or a peso, whatever, and they really have the authority somehow to really communicate that this is a serious thing on taking decisions, or it's better. In our case, we work a lot with the demand planners, people with the SNOP. There's a meeting on the company's name, Sales and Operation Planning, and right there they need a lot of analysis because they deal plenty of data. They work with plenty of data, and you see that the world is in Excel in terms of the business tool, the business platform everywhere somehow is in Excel. But when they need to realize that they have opportunities handling data faster. I'm going to say something that I am doing now, for instance, again with the labor cost. I don't know how much money an analyst or how much money makes an analyst here in U.S. or in Europe or in Asia, but people, I mean, companies don't want people paying hours in Excel. They want to pay decisions faster. But we still have that advantage somehow with a labor cost that is lower.
Yeah.
But it is not true. I mean, we are competing globally, and many companies are going global, so we need to have the same standard all over the world right now. I mean, it doesn't matter labor in terms of analysis.
Yeah. And Charity, I assume as VP of Finance, you'd agree that finance is the place where most of these things start?
Of course, I agree with that. But no, I do agree with that. That has been our journey at Lighthouse. We had the unfortunate disadvantage of having the worst year in our company history in 2011. And it was at that moment where our CEO really challenged the finance department. You know, he said, "You guys are not giving this organization what we need." And it was tough to hear, but he was absolutely right. We were not turning the headlights on. We were not doing any of the things, you know, projecting out decisions, business, capital expenditures. You know, we just were not doing what we needed to do. But it was a family-owned business. That's the way they always did things. So he really challenged us to, you know, you have to figure it out. You have to put this company, you have to get us ready for growth, anticipate opportunities, anticipate challenges, and really help us make the best decisions that we can make. And so that is where our journey with Quantrix began. And it has just, you know, our profitability, once we got Quantrix in and we started modeling out our financial models, our budgets, and just really understanding the decisions that we were making and being able to partner with the executive team to help them understand those things. We made better decisions. People were more engaged in the business. People understood the drivers of the business. We went through every functional area of the business. We established KPIs, metrics. We helped them understand what their trigger points were. And our profitability has skyrocketed. I mean, skyrocketed. So we are 10 times more profitable than we were ever before. And our CEO, our executive team will tell you it's because of what the finance team has helped them transform. So then that becomes contagious, and all of the other department heads want to, oh, well, how do I look good too? I want to fly around with a cape on. And Quantrix has helped us. What used to take us 3 weeks now takes us a press of the button. So all of that extra time is allowing us to emerge throughout the organization and really partner with these other department heads to try to get them more automated, try to get them to understand their results, use Quantrix. And so we spend our time now helping other departments build out models that are going to help them be better at what they do. And it drives performance. And we're an employee-owned company. And so it fits right within our culture, the whole concept of, you know, the new finance team trying to help you and your department perform better. And it's effective, very effective.
Yeah, I imagine it becomes kind of contagious almost
It's very
across the business.
contagious, yeah. And we get invited to every meeting, and it's like, really? We really need to be in that one? But it has... We have, 10 years ago, we were a finance department that nobody wanted to approach. Nobody wanted when I first got to Lighthouse, it was like, we were like the plague in the finance department. You know, we were the police, we were clerks who were just, you know, not doing anything to help people. We were just trying to point out all the problems and errors and really make people feel bad about themselves and their department. So what we've worked really hard to transform that into, we're business partners, we want to help you perform, we want you to succeed. And people, when you're genuine about that and you do help them succeed, I mean, then the partnership just grows and it's so much better for the organization.
Like you say, you're in demand.
Right.
Robert?
I want to join her team.
Yeah. I think we're all going to kind of start writing our resumes and put our applications into the finance team at Lighthouse.
Yeah. Engaging in the conversation. I mean, something that agencies, we deal at executive level, governor's office, planning a budget, that type of thing. And what they hope to be able to do one day is do good forecasting. Because they don't. That's not the way budgeting works. It's how much money did you spend last year, and what's the tax revenue look like next year, and okay, what can you do if we give you 2%? Or what can we do if we give you 4%?
Yeah.
And that's the extent of it.
Yeah.
It's really sad. And it's all, they collect the data nicely, but it's all prepared in Excel after that for any type of analysis. So we hope to be able to get them to see that, that next step is just right around the corner. So we have to, we're going to have to get out and do some models for them, kind of walk them through it, kind of show where they can be if they invest a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So it's, there's real challenges there.
And what do you perceive as the largest challenges in that regard? Is it just a resistance to change, or is there something else at play here?
That's largely it, but because of that age gap, it's getting easier because the people that are fighting you are leaving. And you can pretty much guilt trip them into saying, okay, if you don't help these people that are coming after you, you're going to leave a poor legacy.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So that part of the conversation is getting a little bit easier. And the new workforce that's coming in, because they're younger, they're more social, they embrace technology.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're looking for a better answer. They pick up these spreadsheets and they're just like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Because I had a class in Excel and I don't like Excel. But,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
it's a little bit more than that. But
Absolutely.
yeah, the conversation's actually getting easier.
Good. Armando?
Well, we find that one of the first things that it's difficult is to align data because everybody has different sources or even attributes in the way that they handle. So it's quite important to have all the data really aligned in a database or in a formal way. So once you have that, then you can start building like a model and share, because otherwise you have many islands there because the data is not aligned. So this is one of the things that it's a challenge all the time to really bring good quality of data.
Well, you see the cultural aspects as well, right? So
Yes.
you've got some organisations that don't like the concept of sharing data. It becomes this is mine, this is only mine, and no one else can use this. This is where my value is derived from the company. And then you've got other companies that have taken an approach which is completely transparent, which is any data, any decision should be visible across the business, and that then breeds that collaboration. Kind of, do you see that?
I see that probably more than most people in the room, just because we're an employee-owned company. We are very transparent with our data. Sometimes
Too
we're scary transparent with our data. But for us, that works because what we're trying to do is, the more profitability we drive to the bottom line, the more every employee's stock value is going to go up. And so with the growth in profitability and the growth in our company, the things we've been able to do, we're seeing, annually 30-40% increases in our employees' stock value. And that creates a lot of excitement. So I think in our environment, they really understand the value of being transparent and the fact that we all really are on the same team trying to drive to the same results, the same better results. And so once they started understanding that with the ESOP transaction, we really educated people a lot on that. But once they started to understand that, oh, these guys just really genuinely want to help me, then it becomes easy. Then they want you to help them, and they're giving the data up. But it wasn't that way before.
No, and I guess the change in culture and the fact that the results have immediately followed that, you can draw the direct correlation in it, and people just buy into it, right? People enjoy success, and if they know where that success has come from and that the culture is set to drive that success, then they buy into it.
Yeah, the buy-in has been very easy for us because of some of the early successes.
And Robert, do you see any major challenges with this new wave, this next generation of individuals coming through with respect to adoption of some of these technologies? Or?
Adoption of the technologies, not so much, but more so having the knowledge that it takes to build the models.
Yeah.
Because they just don't have the track record. They don't know where the landmines are. And it's to build a good model, you've got to have extensive experience and knowledge, subject matter area knowledge, to be able to feed it so that you know what you're looking at.
So would you work through some methodologies that help them to learn these new concepts and these new approaches?
So it's a combination. So really, when I started my career into state government, I was Gen Xer, and so I was kind of the new kid on the block, and there were some established resources. As my career progressed, I maintained relationships with these people, and these people carry that knowledge going forward. So it's easy to tap them to get the subject matter expertise. So now we need the other missing link is to get the tool expertise, the skill sets to be able to take that and then incorporate it and then roll it out. So.
Do you think there's anything else that Quantrix could be doing to kind of help that skill set development in the tool set?
Great videos.
Great videos. We got a man that's generated some great videos for us at the front and center. Armando, what about you?
Well, we are trying to find different ways to really provide tools so the people that use Quantrix is able to use by themselves, because nobody wants to depend on somebody to solve a problem now. That's the advantage that people have somehow with Excel. That it is supposed like that. But well, we need to create videos in Spanish too.
How's your Spanish, Rich?
No hablo español.
Yeah, but no, I think that what you are doing on developing the new capabilities and features are great. We have been working very hard trying to do and replicate some models with some logics, but we found that you are really working on that direction. We created some scripts, some very interesting things, but you have in your hands, in your development teams, a lot of things that you can really still improve. And this is technology today. You are improving a lot, and any feedback, customers provide us feedback. And also we need to really understand that the scope, I mean, how and when to use Quantrix, not on. There's a saying about that if you have a hammer, everybody has like a nail head, but it's not like that. You need to really understand how to use and in which places you will be using that one. But no, we have the challenge to globalize, and we are participating like that. Some today I received a call from the director of Church and Drive. We started on the supply chain, but finance is going to start now creating the first model.
There we
So
go.
I'm happy about that. Yes, so.
Perfect. So,
So I would like to just add to that,
Yeah,
because
please.
I see it as less of a risk and more of an opportunity. I think that this younger generation coming up who hasn't really utilized Excel the way that our generation has, I think that they will embrace this type of technology and latch onto it. And as we go into digitalization and we're going to be dealing more and more with big data, that is the future. And if we can't figure out how to use big data and gain a competitive advantage with it, then we're going to be,
Yeah, left behind,
outpaced,
right,
and we're not going to be relevant anymore. And millennials know this. They know that they're going to have to deal with big data, and I think that they're looking for the tools to do it. So, can you guys get into universities? Can you start teaching Quantrix courses at the university level and really, gaining your following at that level where they can see the value of what you provide?
yeah,
I think there's real opportunity for you guys there.
absolutely. Okay. Well, I'd like to
Thank you
thank
to our esteemed panelists.
our esteemed panel. Thank you.